Hey guys, so last lesson of the circles unit is equation of circles. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna look at is a circle whose center is at the origin of an xy axis. Right, if you remember, origin means at the point 0, 0. Okay, so that circle would look like the equation for that circle would be x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r is our radius. So a quick example of that is, so center 0, 0, and we'll say radius is 4. So using what we just did, x squared plus y squared equals r squared, where r is 4, so 16. So it's pretty easy to write the equation of a circle if it's at the origin. Right? So what do we do if it's not at the origin? Okay, if it's not at the origin, then we use this equation. Right, we use x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where again r is our radius. Okay, so in this example, h and k is our center. I noticed when I wrote that the center was hk, I didn't include the negatives here that are in the equation. Okay, so that just lets me know that when I'm finding my center looking at my equation, it's always going to be the opposite of what's inside the parentheses. So here I have negative h, but when I wrote my center, I said positive h. Okay, so let's look at a simple example of this. Okay, so we'll say center is at 2, negative 5, and radius is 3. Right, so using our equation, we're going to say x minus 2 squared plus y minus negative 5 would be plus 5 squared equals our radius squared, so 3 squared is 9. Okay, so again, I had a positive 2 in my center, but when I wrote it in my equation, it became negative. I had a negative 5 in my center. When I wrote it in my equation, it became positive. Okay? So pretty simple. If we were to multiply this out, we would get what is known as the general form. So let's do that real quick. Let me rewrite it. Okay, so remember these squares, when you square a binomial, that means to write it twice and multiply. Alright, I don't know why my laptop is messing up, but ignore the red lines. Okay, so I wrote both of the binomials out, and now I'm going to multiply them. So x times x is x squared. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Okay, same thing with the y's. Y times y is y squared. Y times 5 is 5y. 5 times y is 5y. 5 times 5 is 25. And equals 9. Alright, so now we're going to combine our like terms. And when we combine our like terms, we're going to also put it in descending order. Okay? Descending alphabetical order. So remember, if you remember from the polynomials unit that we did, descending order means the highest exponent down. So 2 is my highest exponent, and then 1, and then no x's. Okay, and so we're going to write them in descending order and alphabetical order. Right, so I have an x squared. There's no other x squares. And then I also have a y squared, so y squared would go next. So all my squares. Okay. And then okay, and then I will combine my x's, so negative 4x, and then combine my y's, plus 10y, and then my constants. 4 and 25 gives me 29. Right? And the last step in putting it in general form is to make this side 0. So I'd subtract 9 from both sides. So I get x squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 10y plus 20 equals 0. So this is general form. Alright, so we went from standard form. This is standard form. We went from standard form to general form. Okay? So, now we're going to look at how to go the other way. How to go from general form to standard form. Okay, so if we have this equation, and I said, what is the center and radius of this equation? Well, this isn't like standard form when I can just look at it and I know what my radius is and what my center is. I have to put it back into standard form. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to do the completing the square method we learned in the polynomials unit. Okay, so first thing we need to do is put all of our x's together and all of our y's together. So we have x squared minus 4x plus y squared minus 6y. And we're also going to move our constant to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. Okay? Now, if you remember when we do completing the square, that's when we add our boxes. So, x squared minus 4x plus a box plus y squared minus 6y plus a box. Okay, so notice I have two boxes. When we did completing the square with a quadrilateral, not a quadrilateral, excuse me, a quadratic equation, we only did one box. So this, we're doing completing the square 2 times at one time. Okay, and because I added 2 boxes to this side of the equation, I have to do that to this side also. Right, so we're going to do the completing the square method for the x's, and then we're going to do it for the y's. Right, so if you remember, first thing we're going to do, we draw our parentheses and bring down our variable. And then we say, what is half of this number? So half of -4 is -2. And then we square it. What's -2 squared? 4. And we added in our boxes. Okay, so we did it for the x's. Now let's do it for the y's. Set of parentheses, y. Bring down your variable of y. What's half of -6? -3. Square it. What is -3 squared? It's 9. Okay, so, So last thing we need to do right here is to combine like terms here. So -8 plus 4 plus 9 is 5. Right? So my original question was, what was the center and radius of this equation? Well, now that I have it in standard form, I should be able to look at it and say what it is. So center, two, 3. Remember, they were negative here, but in my center, they were positive. Okay? This equation always equals my radius squared. This is not my radius. This is my radius squared. So to find my radius, what you do is you take the square root of whatever this number is here. So square root of 5 is my radius. Okay, 5 isn't a perfect number, so you just leave it just like that, unless you can break it down, but you can't break down 5 because it's a prime number. Alright, let's look at another example of converting to standard form from general form. Alright, so let's put all of our x's together, all of our y's together, and move our constant to the other side. Alright, so we have x squared plus 2x plus y squared minus 4y equals 11. So all I did was put my x's together, my y's together, and then I moved the -11 to the other side, so it became positive 11. Alright, now let's add our boxes. X squared plus 2x plus a box plus y squared minus 4y plus a box equals 11 plus 2 boxes. Okay? So, completing the square, we do our parentheses, bring down our variable. What's half of this number? Half of 2 is 1, so plus 1. Square it, 1 squared is just 1. Right, do it again with the y's. Draw your parentheses, bring down your variable. What's half of negative 4 is negative 2. Square it, positive 4. 11 plus 1 plus 4 equals 16. So, what is my center? Center is going to be negative 1, positive 2. And what is my radius? Remember, we always take the square root of this number, whatever is on the left side, whatever is on the right side when we finish. So, square root of 16 is 4. Alright, let's do one more example. Remember guys, you can pause the video and try this one on your own if you'd like to make sure you got it. Alright, x's together, y's together, so x squared plus 10x plus y squared minus 6y, and then move the constant over to the other side, equals negative 30. Alrighty. Add in the boxes. Okay, and then we are going to complete the square. Parentheses, bring down your variable. Half of 10 is 5. Square it and add it to both sides. Bring down your y. Half of negative 6 is negative 3. Square it. Add it to both sides. Negative 30 plus 25 plus 9 is 4. So my center is negative 5 and positive 3. And my radius, square root of 4, is 2.